Welcome to the reception and tribute to Dr. David A. Sam. Thank you all for coming. We have a great night planned for you, and we're going to start it off with something that I was told not to do. We have a special occasion to celebrate in addition to Dr. Sam's retirement. His wife Linda turned 47 today. So before we start the program, we're all going to sing Happy Birthday to Linda Sam. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Linda. Happy birthday to you. You're only 47 once. That's right. So let's talk a little bit about Dr. Sam's tenure here at Germanna Community College. In his decade here, President Sam has guided Germanna through a perfect storm of the Great Recession and an ongoing series of state budget cuts coinciding with a rapid increase in enrollment. During his time at Germanna, there are modern new facilities, new programs, and most importantly, and this truly is most importantly, 183% increase in degrees awarded in the 2015 and 16 academic year over 2006 and 7. That's a phenomenal achievement. In something near and dear to my heart with the Germanna Educational Foundation, Dr. Sam launched the first ever capital campaign at Germanna with the lofty goal of $10 million. And I have to say that our board thought he was nuts. I was president at the time, and he kind of wrote me into it. I was like, well, okay. And the campaign exceeded its goal, raising $12 million. Also, over the past 10 years, including other things that Dr. Sam has done with local governments and other fundraising activities, his total in his decade here at the institution comes to $26.5 million. That ain't chicken feed. These funds have led to the opening of a new Caroline County Center, helped build the new Science and Engineering Building and Information Commons at the Fredericksburg area campus. It led to the recently opened Fredericksburg Center for the Advanced Technology just last week, and will lead to an expansion of the Stafford Center. They also funded the start of 2 programs, the Germanna Scholars and the Gladys P. Todd Academy, both of which make it possible for local high school students to earn an associate's degree at little or no cost while still in high school, and then transfer to a 4-year university as a junior. Phenomenal programs under the leadership of that man right there, Dr. Sam. A few other of his accomplishments. Under his leadership, we doubled the number of students in our nursing program. That's amazing. And there's still not enough nurses out there. He established an engineering program. He began a physical therapy assisting program and started a student success initiative that includes student success coaches. In addition to the 183% increase in the number of degrees and certificates awarded annually, there's a credit side enrollment climbed 61%, and full-time equivalents of students are up 44%. That's a huge achievement. And the last thing that I have here is that Dr. Sam, a lot of people don't realize that community colleges have two sides. There's the academic side and the workforce side. The workforce side, Dr. Sam helped transform the workforce department into one that meets the needs of the service region. Germanna's non-credit workforce enrollment has increased 1,028%. That's correct, 1,028%, and the number of workforce courses have climbed by 1,676%. That is a huge commitment to our community, and it came under the leadership of Dr. Sam. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Terry.
Thank you, Bruce, and welcome everyone. I had the distinct pleasure of introducing you to one of my favorite people in Fredericksburg. Don't hide your head, Reverend Davies. Reverend Lawrence A. Davies is a U.S. Army veteran of the Korean War and a pillar of the Fredericksburg community since his arrival into Fredericksburg region in 1962. He was hired to preach at Shiloh Baptist Church. Reverend Davies was elected to the Fredericksburg City Council in 1966 and served in that capacity until 1976. He was then elected Fredericksburg's first African-American mayor, and during his 20 years, and I do mean 20 years as mayor, he earned the respect of a wide range of people of all races across all political spectrum and across the state. Since its inception in 2015, Reverend Davies has served as the chair of the advisory board for the Gladys P. Todd Academy, which allows first-generation students from James Monroe and Spotsylvania County High Schools to earn their associate's degrees concurrent with their high school diploma. This past May, Reverend Davies received an honorary degree from Germanna. Please join me in welcoming one of the nicest people in Fredericksburg, Reverend Lawrence A. Davies. He always gets us standing over.
I'm grateful to Terry for such an elegant and expansive introduction. I wish that I could come close to being realistic about accepting that. But I'm going to continue to thank you until I go away on the other side. And then I'll ask the Lord to come down and bless you too. Good evening. I'm truly honored and humbled to be given an opportunity to say a few words describing my heartfelt feelings regarding Dr. Sam. A man that I can only describe as a person of phenomenal leadership ability, incredible character, integrity, and compassion. He has demonstrated an unwavering awareness of and the dedication to open the doors of opportunity for young people who thought themselves powerless to pursue their potential and to reach undreamed of heights. Dr. Sam expanded Germanna's presence and prestige across our region. Local students were able to earn Germanna degrees, often the first in their families to do so, at limited or no cost. And the opportunity to transfer the unlimited opportunities for education at universities after leaving here. His establishment of the Germanna Scholars and the Gladys P. Todd Academy programs. His work in making Germanna a center for the workforce and community education, all in the midst of budget cuts during expanding enrollments, resulted in his being named President Emeritus and giving that status by the State Community College Board. I know you join me in wishing him, his loyal, supportive wife, a happy and rewarding retirement. Thank you.
Can I get an amen? Thank you, Reverend Davies. Next, I have the pleasure of introducing Catherine Washington. She and I have been serving on the board of Germanna Community College, and it's been a true pleasure, and I haven't been able to tell her that. But over the past 22 years, Kathy has taught science, math, and language arts to middle school students in Spotsylvania County, Stafford County, Prince William County, and Fairfax County. It's only a couple you've missed so far, Kathy. Molding young minds takes an enormous amount of talent, discipline, and leadership. But her leadership abilities are not limited to the classroom. Kathy was appointed to the Stafford County's representative of Germanna Community College Board in July 2009, and over the past 8 years, she has served a variety of capacities, and I mean she has served, including a member of the Academic and Student Affairs, Workforce Committee, and the Finance and Facilities Committee. She was vice chair of the College Board from 2012 to 2014. They don't tell you it's a 2-year term every time you sign up for a committee. Chair of the College Board from 2014 to 2016, and she has been a tireless advocate for the college and its students. Her term expires on the 30th of this month, and her lifelong devotion to education will continue. Please give a very warm welcome to Kathy Washington.
Good teacher has a nice spiral notebook. Good evening, that was very kind words. And one of the things that Dr. Sam and I both share is a passion for education. And while it's not in the script, it is a calling, it's not a job. So, good evening, and thank you. Thank you for that lovely introduction. And Dr. Sam and Linda and your family, college board members, present and past, distinguished guests, and the College Foundation Board. What a privilege it is tonight to bring some remarks to recognize Dr. Sam for his dedicated decade of leadership at Germanna, of which I did get to serve 8 years alongside you. Now, if I have this correct, 4 meetings at 8 years is 32, plus an average of 4 events per year. I'm getting up over to 64. 5 meetings, he's reminding me. The unpredetermined number of hours in committee meetings, reading reports, monthly chats. I think it's suffice to say that after 8 years, I've gotten to know David just a little bit. And it occurred to me that there became this pattern of behavior. Most mathematicians like to look for patterns. So I found one, and this evening I've decided to share with you, as a report from the board, 10 Samisms that I would hear, probably, at one of these events. Most of this is your unselfish service. Samism number 1, quote, "It is my honor and privilege to recognize David always took time to model the importance of honoring and thanking faculty, staff, students, who all contribute to Germanna Community College or reaching significant milestones in their own lives." Samism number 2. Coming from committee, David recognized with his expert parliamentary procedures that perhaps some board members might be a little rusty when it came to Robert's Rules of Order, so he helped us along. Samism number 3. If it weren't for Rick, as we all know, Rick Brim played a major role not only in his position at Germanna, but at Germanna he was also a dearly beloved colleague who we all miss. Following closely to that is now Garland. David applauded Garland Fenwick over and over the years for all of his contributions, his roles as plant and facilities manager in the many successes and projects, including the recovery from the earthquake. Brings us to number 5. By no means am I suggesting, but Why, this covered many topics that would recuse him from any personal influence. Samism number 6. No, madam, there is no media today. It's I. Which brings me to number 7. Well, there's some good news and there's not so good news. Predictably, what would follow had to be something budget related. Again, from the board, Samism number 8. I recently spoke with the chancellor. Well, as a board member, you know what's going to follow is something from number 7. There's probably a little shortfall in the budget. Coming close is number 9. Did I ever mention a time when... It's funny how more recently these times have become much more colorful in his description of his past. Yes, and positions he held. Thank you for sharing. As a mentor, we exchanged some of those stories. And finally, number 10. He never left a meeting without saying something about Linda and I. Linda and I. What a blessing Linda and I have been to Germanna Community College. Your generosity, your time serving our community for a decade has been a team effort. It has been a pleasure to serve you. It has been a pleasure to serve and support your leadership and your vision. David, you have given Germanna so much of your time and effort. Of course, there are many more, but my time is up. David, your passion, your commitment to our community has fulfilled a vision, and you are leading Germanna in high ground. And for that, we thank you for your leadership. And again, thank you for your time. And would you all raise your glasses for a toast? Please. To David and Sam, thank you from the community, Germanna Community College, where community is our middle name. Thank you.
Wow, that was great, Kathy, and I recognized all 10 of those things, so sorry. All right, next, it's my pleasure to introduce to you to Dick Scheid. Dick and I served on, I believe, just 1 year. You were going off, and then I was coming on. But in 2002, Dick was appointed to fill an unexpired term in King George County's representative for Germanna Community College Board. He was appointed to two subsequent 4-year terms for a total of 11 years. We always say you never leave. So, and here a lot of people are, excuse me. For those of you who are visual learners, this means, you've got to pay attention to this. This means that Dick started on the board, and the only two buildings at Germanna were the French Slaughter Building at Locust Grove and the Dickinson Building at Fredericksburg area campus. During Dick's tenure, the college expanded to include the Workforce Technology Building in 2004, the Daniel Technology Center in Culpeper in 2006, the Stafford Center in 2009, and the Automotive Technology Center in 2012. You must be exhausted. If those accomplishments weren't impressive enough, he also served on the College Board's Finance and Facilities Committee and held the office of Vice Chair for, guess what, 2 years. And before serving as Chair of the Board for, guess what, 2 years. And after retiring as an engineer with the U.S. Navy, Dick served as an engineer and program manager at Dahlgren, then a system engineer, acquisition manager at Naval Sea, and finally a systems engineer at BAE System in Garrisonville, supporting the Navy and Marine Corps systems. Please join me in giving a warm round of applause for Mr. Dick Scheid.
Thank you very much for that very kind introduction. I wish I had more to do with all of those events that occurred and all the wonderful growth that occurred in the college during all those years. But it was mostly the work of others and working together. And as I mentioned earlier, even Vice President Rick Grimm was very key in some of the facilities developments. I was asked to to say a few words here this evening about why the board selected Dr. Sam back in 2006. There's been wonderful accolades and so forth that we've already heard, and I probably can't do any better than that. So I'd like to say a few words about why he was picked over a large number of other candidates who were also highly qualified and so forth. My comments probably reflect my own opinions and my own biases, so be it. There's no way for me to pull everybody together. If somebody wants to correct me, they're certainly welcome to. Please forgive the fact that I'm going to use some notes because there are many things I want to do, even though I'd rather just talk. First comment I'd like to make is that Lyle Ray Smith should be giving this speech, not me. Unfortunately, he was the president of the board at the time, and he was really a key person that did a lot of the homework and the legwork and everything that led to the selection and appointment of Dr. Sam. So he has sent a letter, and I've read it, and I have a copy of it, and with his comments about the process, and I've used some of it in my remarks here this evening. I'd like to kind of put in perspective what the college board was in 2006. It was very diverse. We had business leaders, we had bankers, we had lawyers. We had a Germanna original plank holder who was workforce oriented. We had the renowned educator in Ray Smith. And we had a old retired engineer from Dahlgren who hopefully was going to bring a little bit of technical input and maybe a little bit of military perspective too. So we had commerce, finance, legal, workforce, education, technical. Very high standards and expectations on that board. Dr. Turnage had an outstanding career, and he grew this college from really almost nothing to the status it was in. Dr. Sam's growth, yes, has been phenomenal, but in percentage-wise, Dr. Turnage also had a highly distinguished career. He was very well respected and known in the community, and it was very difficult to find someone that could fill Frank's shoes. His shoes were large and hard to do. And the rapid expansion that was ongoing in the college at that time and the growth, it dictated strong leadership. Not just anybody could take this very, very dynamic organization and grow it. And most of us, I think all of us, understood that that job of selecting a new president to succeed Dr. Turnage would most likely be the most important job we would do in the whole time that we would be on the board. And it was. And we welcomed that challenge. Very quickly, I'll mention the process. I think the current board, of course, has just gone through a similar process. And just to refresh it, the vacancy, of course, was advertised by the VCCS. Responses were received and vetted. The local board, led by Mr. Smith, went down and ranked over 50 qualified applicants. They interviewed 10 of those. They selected 3 finalists. Dr. Sam was not one of those candidates. He didn't apply. At least that's what I understand from what he shared with me later. But the finalists were invited to interview with the board, and of course the process was then to recommend a selection to the chancellor. Well, it didn't work. The candidates were qualified. There were excellent applications. They had good resumes, but none of them met the comfort level of this very critical, I guess I would have to say, board. Some excelled in some areas, fell short in others. The interviews, how would I describe the interviews of the candidates? Not that they were poor, but they lacked presence for someone who's going to represent this college and that important a job. And a highly critical board split the decision, and we informed the chancellor that consensus was not achieved. He wasn't too happy with that, I don't think. Not because it meant go back and do it over. but we did. And the second time, Dr. Sam did apply, and he was invited for an interview. Now, why David Sam? I mean, what stood out about him? And there are two things two experiences that you have to consider. One is his application, and the other was what he had to say to us in the interview. To quote Ray Smith, he observed that the application itself had one important characteristic, that it was observed to be personally written. It was not written by a professional resume writer. It was written by David Sam. And it was very obvious that that was true. There were 6 written pages of experience and 3 of chronology of his activities, but they dealt with all of the leadership things. I mean, academics, workforce, teaching, speaking, budget, etc. But what was important, or more important perhaps, is they went beyond the basic experience descriptions. He addressed critical challenges of the day, integrating technology, using the internet, doing more with less dollars, although the budget, the main recession had not quite hit yet, but it was kind of cloudy on the horizon. Hands-on techniques for developing faculty, cultivating diverse student body, I mean ethnicity, talent, underserved students, and organizational change and growth. All of these were included in there. And one other thing that applied to us, as you notice, this board was not highly comprised of educational professionals. It was people that were out in the world doing jobs and having experience as a business owner and teaching at other institutions besides community college. All of these were big pluses, and they brought a rounding that the others really didn't have, and that was a big factor. Well, moving to his interview, well, some people say, the only reason to do a resume is to get an interview. I keep pumping that silly thing. But the interview is where the rubber really meets the road. And we had a standard set of questions and topics, for all of the candidates. And they covered all the topics: experience and supervision, planning, budget, community relations, all of those types of things. But Dr. Sam, in his presentation and in his responses, never faltered. He fully answered each key topic factually. If he didn't know the answer to the topic, perhaps it was something to do with this area that he wasn't familiar with, he stated so and said how we would learn that or gain that knowledge. He demonstrated his ability to deal with controversy in his previous experience, and there might have been a couple of little trap questions in there too, and he handled those with diplomacy and with tact. He demonstrated his personal presence, clear and concise communicator. That was very, very important, and it really came across. He was knowledgeable, he was confident, and he had leadership ability. The outcome, well, the selection was easy. Frankly, he clearly surpassed the other candidates at this time. I recall Ray Smith saying at the conclusion of the interview, of course, David Sam wasn't there at the time, but he said, "We have found our president." And it was a unanimous board agreement. It was not consensus. It was unanimous. And the recommendation was made to the chancellor without any reservations at all. Well, I think we've heard all the good things that all the previous speakers have said, and I probably shouldn't be listing. I'm not going to list all of your achievements because they've already been stated and probably better than I can do it. But I think the board's decision to call David our president was quickly confirmed. And he rapidly installed his philosophy and built a team. And that's the first thing that a president has to do, and he did it. He faced adversity, and he did it with decisiveness and energy, and he had some personnel decisions that had to be done. There was an economic turndown the next year. and there was a natural disaster that had to be overcome, and many of the facilities or activities had to be relocated and temporary things. It was a lot of work. So, well, you all have a brochure in front of you. It's called Legacy of Caring, and in it are his accomplishments are listed, and enrollment programs, courses, facilities. Bruce covered those better than I can. And he also covered, there were more, but there was much more, and Bruce did cover some of those too, like the 10+ million fundraising. But what he didn't mention was the enhanced spirit among the faculty and students. It was obvious. He improved the image of Germanna throughout the service area. And we don't know what else happened behind the scenes, but I'm sure there were many other things that I haven't listed here. So, in closing, my own philosophy right this minute, I think that a simplified way of doing objective management probably only has 4 goals. And one is do your job and do it well. Execute, deliver, improve. And the second one is grow your job, enhance it, expand it, and increase its value to others. The third is grow your people. Develop them, recruit, motivate them. And the last is grow yourself. Build your skills, demonstrate your vision, improve your credibility. David, you've done all these and more. You've earned credit and acclaim for Germanna and for yourself. I'd like to commend you with a Navy expression for well done. And if you've got a glass, you can hold it up and we'll make it in the form of a toast. Bravo Zulu, Dr. Sam. You put your heart in it, you did it your way, you did it well. Bravo Zulu. David and Linda, we wish you a happy and fulfilling future. Thank you.
Last minute instructions by you-know-who. No, he would never do that. There is a table back here filled with proclamations. We're going to read every line, every single line. Sit down. Go get a drink. It'll be fun. Learn the word whereas. Our first one is from, he's going to tell me who they are, so I have to wear my glasses. Congressman Whitman. Are we reading anything out here other than he writes to congratulate you on your retirement as president from Germanna Community College. Your consistent demonstration of creativity, rapport with students and colleagues, and extraordinary community service has not gone unnoticed. And it goes on and on. So, thank you. I mean, there is a table full. Congressman Freitas says, Dr. Sam, I want to take, I'm just going to read the first paragraph. That's always the best one, and then you go to the end. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for your years of service at Germanna Community College and congratulate you on being named a President Emeritus by the Virginia Community College Board. Madison County Board of Supervisors. Why is he yelling it to me and then I repeat it to you?
I'm like Vanna White.
What? We're a good team. I can definitely not read this. This is one of those whereas, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 whereases. But you got them all, Dr. Sam. Madison County Board of Supervisors. Somebody at the end is going to thank me for not reading all of these. All of these are important. Let me just say that before I get in trouble. This is also, you know, I always put my foot in my mouth. This is also a resolution from Orange County Board of Supervisors, and it has 13 whereases. So one more whereas, and I challenge you to find the difference later.
Whereas David sang.
See, he didn't want to do that. Stafford County proclamation recognizing David Sam on his retirement as president of Germanna Community College. And it has 3 whereas, but they're a lot longer. So I'm just going to tell you what they're. But whereas 25 acres of land have been designated for a future permanent campus for Germanna Community College, the best sentence. And then it has something about a grant from the Stafford County Economic Development. Okay, they got this one. Sorry, this one was a good one. Oh, you want me to tell you who it is?
No.
You sure? Oh, you okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have someone special from Washington, D.C. to read a letter from Senator Warner. So I'd like to call on Mr. Sam Taylor to come forward. Mr. Taylor runs Senator Warner's office, so Richmond office.
There really is an entire table full of letters back here, if you don't believe it. Again, my name is Sam Lois Taylor. I'm the regional director for Senator Warner's Richmond office. Senator Warner is very sad that he could not be here tonight. The Senate is still in session today, but it's my pleasure to be here on his behalf, and I will share these words with you. Dear Dr. Sam, I'm pleased to extend my warmest greetings on the occasion of your retirement from Germanna Community College. Your many years of leadership in higher education reflect your hard work and commitment. Your efforts have made a substantial difference in the lives of students. Under your leadership, Germanna Community College increased enrollment, developed new academic programs, expanded existing campuses, and created new centers, and most importantly, helped all students be successful. Faculty, staff, and students attest to the many important contributions you've made throughout your career. I join them in paying tribute to you, your 10 years of service as president of Germanna. I know that you will have many fond recollections of the friendships that you have developed over your career. May these friendships and experiences you have gained over time serve you well as you embark on new and exciting challenges. On this important occasion, I am pleased to join with your family, friends, and colleagues in wishing you the very best for a fulfilling and successful retirement. Sincerely, Mark Warner, United States Senator. And I will just add, in my now, almost 2 years covering this area for Virginia, it is very clear to me why Fredericksburg, all the way over to Culpeper, is one of the fastest growing regions of Virginia. It's becoming one of the more economically diverse regions of the Commonwealth. And that's in no small part due to the fact that Germanna has been a great community partner along the way, meeting the needs of the citizens in this area and the students and the businesses that want to come here. And so for that, Dr. Sam, on behalf of Senator Warner, thank you for all you've done and best wishes on a great retirement.
That was very nice. I have the honor tonight of introducing a member of the Virginia General Assembly. Robert Bobby Orrick has served as a member of the Virginia House of Delegates since 1990. In fact, I remember he came knocking on my door in 1990. I just moved to Fredericksburg, or Spotsylvania. Our neighborhood, which is a very small neighborhood, it has 80 houses. We were the 4th house built, and the road was still gravel. And he was so desperate for votes, he came and knocked on my door. But I never forgot that, and always appreciated that. He's been a member of the House Committee on Health, Welfare, and Institutions since he first became a delegate. He's chaired that committee since 2010. He's also served on the committees on agriculture, Chesapeake, I almost said cheesecake, Chesapeake, and its tributaries, counties, cities, towns, finance, mining, and mineral resources, and rules. Born in Fredericksburg, he attended Ladysmith High School in Caroline County. He graduated from Germanna Community College. His bio doesn't say when, but he graduated from there before transferring to Virginia Tech, where he received a bachelor's degree in agricultural education. He received a master's degree in the same subject from Virginia State University and taught high school at Spotsylvania County High School. In 2008, Delegate Orrick served as the keynote speaker at Germanna's May commencement ceremony. Always a strong supporter of the college, Bobby consistently makes time to meet with our students who participate in Every Day is Community College Day in Richmond at the General Assembly. We are delighted that he's taken time out of his very busy schedule to join us tonight. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Delegate Orrick.
Good evening. Thank you all for allowing me to be a small part of this wonderful evening. You never want to correct Bruce, but I've got to. Bruce, I didn't get a degree from Germanna. So we got to correct that little piece. But had it not been for Germanna, Locust Grove University, as I affectionately call it, back in the day, none of the other educational degrees would have been achieved. Because the Cliff Notes version of my educational path was freshman year at Virginia Tech, 2 quarters, and a grade point average of 1.51. If it goes below in those days a 1.50, they say go away and never come back. So before I got to that stage, much to my dad's chagrin, because he said I was never going to go back, I came back home and I enrolled in Germanna. And a year and a half of Germanna pulled my fat out of the fire, got me through the academic requirements to get me back to Virginia Tech as a junior and to finish and graduate on time. So as I reflect over a 38-year career now of high school education, 28 sessions now in the General Assembly, were it not for Germanna Community College, I'd probably be milking cows, and not that there's anything wrong with that. But, and for those of you who didn't vote for me, you might would have rather that would have occurred. But I want to start off, and David, this night is all about you, but in the grander scheme, and I think you would agree, it's about all the people in this room. Because it's about Germanna. And that's what David recognized when he interviewed with the board. That he recognized the need in this community. He recognized the vision that the board members had then that he could build upon and capitalize on, and that he could take it far beyond even where I think they dreamed, and his mind was open to dreaming beyond what was already there. Plus it was Michigan, so it was warmer and didn't have black flies and all those kind of things. And it wasn't as stinking, hot and mosquitoes like in Florida, so it had a lot of good things to look for. But I call you David because I remember the first couple times I ever met you. I was always, Dr. Sam, because you're the president. And you always corrected me because you've always been David. Because it's always been about you are who you are, and you are someone who's there to serve others. And I've always respected that very much. I don't know how many of y'all, though, as I've looked at the photo, that was one. I was taken by 2 in the photo montage of your life here. The first was the hippie working in the guitar shop that we just saw. But I found even more disconcerting the more recent one where you getting behind the wheel of a big rig. I'm just, whoa, wait a minute, tell me that ain't so. That was just a photo op, not a real, okay. But you have always put the students first. You have always put this community first. You have always, therefore, put Germanna first. And for that, David, that's why we're here tonight, to recognize you. The program couldn't be any more aptly named, because your tenure here at Germanna, your tenure in Florida, your tenure throughout your life, and I'm sure the family could give us scads more stories, is a legacy of caring. And for that, David, we very much commend you. In keeping with the earlier pattern. I have a resolution. I will say this is the biggest, okay? I didn't count the whereas, but it's the biggest, so we got that covered. But David, we want to recognize you on behalf of this year's Virginia General Assembly, House Joint Resolution number 790. Resolved by the House of Delegates, this is after all the whereas's, we're not going to go through it. The Senate concurring that the General Assembly hereby commend David Anthony Sam on his retirement as president of Germanna Community College after a highly successful decade of modernizing the college's facilities and curriculum. And we're proud to present you, I'm proud on behalf of the General Assembly to have this here to add to the table. And you get to come up later and do all these things, I think. But anyway, but yes, Dave, it's my great honor. God bless you. Godspeed.
Our last presenter is a gentleman who has been an enormous supporter of Germanna Community College, particularly here at the Fredericksburg area campus. Leading to the building of our third building there, the Science, Engineering, and Information Commons building. Our next presenter spent 20 years as a United States Marine Corps pilot. Prior to joining the Marine Corps, Gary taught industrial arts for 5 years at a high school in New Jersey. And then he said, what the hell am I doing in New Jersey? I'm going to Virginia. After his retirement from the Marines, he served as a contract support officer for the Marine Corps. Mr. Skinner was a member of the Spotsylvania School Board from 2003 to 2006 and has represented the Lee Hill District on the Spotsylvania County Board of Supervisors for the past 10 years. Talk about a thankless job. Mr. Skinner has participated in numerous college events, including the groundbreaking ceremony of the building that I just referenced, the Science, Engineering, and Information Commons building, and at numerous commencement ceremonies. Please help me welcome Supervisor Gary Skinner from Spotsylvania County.
Well, good evening, and thank you for letting me say a few words about Dr. Sam. First of all, I was at a commencement, believe it or not. We were at the Lees Hill Elementary commencement today. When I grew up, the only commencement I had was high school and college, and I didn't even get to go to my high school. I was in college trying to get prepared for the next semester. Anyway, a couple people said a few things that really took heart to me, and that is there's people that talk about it, and there's people that do it. And Dr. Sam, you are one of the people that do it, and you let your actions do the talking for you. And I think one of the things that we both have in common is that one of the best gifts that we can ever give our children is an education. And I'm thinking about that today, where I've got a fifth grader going up through middle school and to high school, and they've got to have hope. They've got to have parents that are concerned about their education, and they also have to have a future to where they can continue their education. And I know that Germanna Community College and the community colleges throughout the United States, and especially in Virginia, is the method that the majority of our children are going to have to take because of the cost of education today. And I just want to say, Dr. Sam, I truly admire you, because it's through your dedication, what I've seen you do here. It's been a pleasure to support you during those years, and it is with heartfelt that I say thank you for everything you did, because I think it's the most important thing you can do in this world, and I thank you. I also represent the county, and the county feels very much like I do, is that what you've done for our children, what you've done for this county, and actually Germanna Community College is well known throughout the state of Virginia. They want to thank you, and we do have a resolution. And again, I'm deciding, no, I don't think, should I or should I not? Should I break the tradition? Not in any way am I going to read the whereas. Okay? But it does say, recognizing Dr. David A. Sam upon his retirement. Dr. David A. Sam will retire as the 5th president of Germanna Community College June 30th, 2017, making 10 years of significant educational contributions to Spotsylvania County and surrounding communities. And Dr. Sam has served as president of Germanna Community College since March of 2007 and has been instrumental in expanding educational opportunities in the following ways. We're now skipping the whereas. Now, I will say, now therefore, be it resolved that the Spotsylvania County Board of Supervisors, this 30th day of March 2017, publicly recognizes Dr. David A. Sam and extends on behalf of its members and the residents of Spotsylvania appreciation for his service to the county and congratulations upon his retirement. And Dr. Sam, we truly, truly appreciate what you've done for this community and what you've given the future for our children. Thank you very much.
Now we have pages to turn.
Can I say something before?
Oh, yes.
I just want to say one thing, because it's not in the script and it's very heartfelt. I have thoroughly enjoyed working with Dr. Sam over the past decade, and I'm going to miss you.
That was it?
That is the shortest thing he's ever said. Well, it is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Sam. We gonna invite him?
Not yet.
Okay.
Just did.
See why he has to give me directions. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Sam to you all. We're going to have him come up. Come on up.
Come on up.
Come on up. This is when you tell us how great we are.
I've always had a hard time taking gifts or praise. I remember the neighbor kids, Mike, Phil, were friends, and Mrs. Ives, their mother, asked me to come over and have dinner, and I mumbled and stumbled around and everything about being invited. And she said, "David, sometimes you just say thank you and then shut up." I'm going to say thank you, but I'm not going to quite shut up, at least not for a little bit. This is truly humbling. And Gary, early, you mentioned another word, feeling, actually, I'm sorry, that was Fred. Fred Rankin said this, I believe. Gratitude. Fred, did I get that right? I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to have served. One of my favorite quotes about leadership, people sometimes misinterpret as kind of a example of humility. When the work of the leader is done, the people say, "We did it ourselves." And I don't see that in any way either as true or false humility, but simply as fact. We don't do anything by ourselves in this life, and we don't do anything by ourselves in our work. Even when I had my little store, the hippie picture with the guitars, there were other people, some of whom are still friends, who made it possible for me to stay in business. I can't say I was really successful. I found out I wasn't going to be Sam Walton, but just having them there, being able to trust them, made it possible for me to serve the customers that I had with integrity and try to make some kind of a living. The people at Germanna, we have represented tonight a few of them, our vice presidents, our institutional advancement staff, our chief of police, but there are over 1,000 that I've served with in my 10 years. And all of those wonderful things that you heard that we did, that I get the credit for. Of course, you know, when you are the CEO, you also get the blame for things you don't necessarily have to take, are directly responsible for. But all of those wonderful things that we did, I'm happy to take my share of the credit, but no more. The pictures as they flashed up there, back to the little boy who had no idea that he would be here, led me to think of the people behind them, my parents and my grandparents. And, you know, one of the things that I look forward to as I reach the end of my career here is the recovery of free speech. As president of Germanna, I always had to be careful what I said because it would reflect on the college. A couple people recently have asked me to run for office, and Bobby, no, I'm not going to try and run against you. One wanted me to run as a Democrat, one as a Republican. I hope that's a sign that they aren't really sure where I stand, because my politics in my 10 years at Germanna have been pro-higher education, pro-community colleges, pro-Germanna. And that's it. What I did beyond that was between me and the voting booth, or Linda and I, as we debated over the table. But behind those pictures are two peasants who came from Syria 100 years ago. They might not be allowed in today. And two other peasants who came from Poland. And they came for the American dream. They came to escape religious persecution. They came to have a chance to be more than peasants. And they weren't very successful in that first generation. And then my two parents, who out of a total of 20 children who became adults, two did not survive childhood, but 20 children in those two families, only two people finished high school, and those were my parents. And they are behind me, even though they're gone now, in the lives that they led, which was all about service. And somebody else is behind me today, and that's the 17-year-old college student that I was when I had no clear faith in myself and went to a large university. Probably should have gone to a community college, but I didn't know about them, and nearly drowned. And so when I talk to 17, 18, 19-year-old students, I didn't know exactly how they felt, but I remembered how I felt. And so all of those things shaped my desire to serve something beyond me. And that's why I have gratitude, because Dick and David, who were here from that original board, and the other boards since then, and all of the people who have worked with me at the college, and all of the people in the community, many in this room who have partnered with us, have made it possible for me to live that in the last 10 years, and to try to be true to that purpose. Behind me also are my family. my sisters in Michigan and others, certainly. But Michelle and her husband Kevin, Caitlin, Carter, Kenzie, Ryan, and I know, Linda, you're not real sure about this, but please come up here. She knew I'm long-winded, so she made me promise that if she had to come up here, it would be at the end. So this is a signal I'm getting near the end. Without their support and belief, maybe I'd have done this, I don't know, but it would have been certainly a lot harder. You may not know that among the various things Linda's done in her life, she was the executive assistant to a CEO of a college, so she could, along with Judy Napier and Rick Grimm, help me to learn how to be president when I first started. She's also been, among other things, a workforce development manager. So when we hired Jean, and by the way, workforce was easy. I just set Jean loose, stayed out of her way. And by the way, she's also was a developmental studies professor. The students who are the most fragile, the ones that come often literally shaking out of fear, knowing they don't belong, and she helped them to believe in themselves, and that's at our best what we in community colleges do. But Linda was the victim of the free speech I couldn't have during the day. At night, quite often. I was able to talk about a lot of problems and opportunities with her, and knowing that she loved me and believed in me even during dark times was always critical. Thank you. And she's, of course, got that unpaid job of First Lady of the college, where she has to show up at events like this and pretend like she wants to be there sometimes. And smile. And I know, Mike, you helped us a great deal with Doris Buffett. And Doris Buffett does not trust white male college administrators because of some bad experiences she had. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. You know, okay, I'm half Arabic, but anyway you paint me, I'm a white male college administrator, so how do I gain her trust? Well, I brought Linda with me, and she liked Linda. And of course, Germanna also had to prove to her that we were a worthy investment, so thank you so much for so many things. And I'm not sure when does the roast begin, because you know you promised me that you were going to.
That was all BS.
Thank you, Bruce, Terry. Thank you to Pam Duff. I think a lot of the things that happened tonight might have been partially instigated by you. Jessica, Angie, some are here, some maybe. Is Angie here? Ron, Matt, Jim? There you go. And Mike sits. Is this you here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Linda's the hippie picture.
She provided the embarrassing pictures. There isn't the one with me naked on the blanket anyway, so. Thank you all in this room. Janet Gullickson will take over July 1st. It's a holiday, but she becomes responsible at midnight. That's change of command. Linda and I are retiring to Lake of the Woods. We, as Frank and Nancy did, and thank you, Frank. He sent a lovely message. His health prevents him from being here tonight, but he did give me a great college with a lot of momentum. It's easier to follow someone who just sucked, because then anything you do is easy, right? And I followed Frank, and that was good in that he gave me a college that was well on its way. Thank you all for tonight, and the many of you who aren't here tonight who said very nice things. Yeah, I'm sorry, I got distracted. Thank you. We're going to step away from everything for a year, as Frank and Nancy did, not because we don't care, but we want Jan and Bobby, if I remember correctly, is her husband, to have a free space. One of the first public meetings, Linda heard somebody say, well, he's no Frank Turnage. And Frank, when I told him that, laughed and said, well, David, if you decided everything the same way I did, and did everything the same way I would have, why did they hire you? So that's my best Frank. Jan already has. She very quickly asked for my phone number and my email. She has those personal things. We will be around. We do care. We both believe in community colleges. Linda's a graduate of community colleges. Ryan and Michelle are graduates of community colleges. And thank you so much for the privilege of having served and the very kind things that you said tonight.
Thank you for those remarks, Dr. Sam. The College Board version of Vanna White has a little presentation to give you. So,
It's a picture of us.
there you go. It's an empty book. Wow. It's a fabulous book. Wow. The history of your 10 years here. Isn't that nice? You're welcome. Now, if both of you would just come around here to these chairs. We couldn't think of anything better to give you, I mean, since you're retiring, than a couple of rocking chairs for your front porch.
We don't have anything on our front porch.
There you go. So now you do. You can't use them until the end of the month. We still have to pay for them, and you're not retired until the end of the month. So. Anyway, congratulations. And lastly, just a little brief announcement here, dessert announcement. And also, if you notice the centerpieces on the table, this is a shameless plug. Those can be purchased, and the foundation staff in the back of the room will gladly accept your credit card, cash, check, with an ID. So please, if you like the hanging basket floral arrangement, please buy it, take it home with you. And $20, is it 20 bucks? Okay. The flower arrangements were created by the Mary Ball Women's Club to raise money for us for their scholarship fund. little announcement is the party is just beginning. So please enjoy some dessert, coffee, drinks, and thank you so much for coming. And lastly, one last big round of applause for Dr. David A. Sam and his wife Linda. Congratulations, both of them.